Good afternoon on a Wednesday, 12:10 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I'm Ernesto Garcia. This is Let's Talk Las Cruces. This is our podcast that we're recording live, and then it's also live on the streaming platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube as well. And then, of course, heard back on the airwaves on this station on a Sunday morning. We appreciate it no matter where you're listening and getting a chance to participate. It's a video podcast and also an audio podcast. And during the live interaction that we have on social media with Las Cruces Mayor Miyagishima, who's our guest, we'll soon get a chance to ask him some questions, and you can participate by doing so. But as always, this segment is brought to you by our friends over at American Document Services. American Document Services, ADSLCNM.com. The mayor can vouch and give you personal recommendation for these folks that work very hard at American Document Services when it comes to document scanning, document storage, medical records, scanning storage, paperless office conversion. You save time, you save money, save the resources, create that office space, be secure, and never lose the data over at ADSLCNM.com. Rick Jackson and his squad do a fabulous job, and we thank them for their sponsorship of this segment, Let's Talk Las Cruces. An editor's note, this is my last Let's Talk Las Cruces as Mesilla Valley News Director. I'll be moving on to another position in another city, but still living in Las Cruces, and look forward to seeing what happens with Mesilla Valley News down the road. But we get a chance to speak with the guest that I have interviewed the most. Therefore, he gets the honor of being the last guest. That is the honor of the Honorable Mayor Ken Miyagishima that gets to join us in the city of Las Cruces. Mayor, glad to have you along, and let's get started. I want to get right to the first question. It is a cannabis celebration type in our area, and no doubt business is booming because of it.
No, absolutely. I saw the reports, 5.2 million in the state over the weekend, and so that's pretty incredible.
Okay, so let's get to some of the questions on this. The biggest question I get asked is, how is the city going to use its portion of the funds, and is the state already allocating how they're going to distribute those funds to the city, and where can we see that being used?
Gosh, that's a good question, Ernesto. I wouldn't really look for getting any money from the state right away. And then as far as how we're going to use it, I think at the very minimum, we have to use it for education and people with issues such as mental health and a few other issues that they may have. I'm not, hopefully my colleagues we don't use it for just various projects. I think if we could use it for nonprofits and people with, whether it's mental health issues or other issues that they may have some challenges with, that would be great. But again, that's, I guess it's yet to be seen.
Okay. Are you concerned that with medical marijuana, with recreational marijuana here, that we might see an uptick in crime? Have you had a chance to meet with your police chief and discuss what are some of the measures that are taking place to make sure that everyone enjoys the recreational marijuana safely and the right way?
Yeah, I'm not really that concerned as far as uptick in crime based on cannabis usage. I guess what I was more concerned of is, maybe little kids or, young adults or someone under the age of 21 accessing it, and when they shouldn't be, and, things of that nature. And then I'm also concerned that those who get it for medical purposes may have a challenge getting it. And, but as far as an actual uptick in crime, I haven't looked at it from that end, Ernesto. I was looking at it from more of a medical. I've read a lot of studies where, especially in someone who's under 25 years old, how it affects the brain and how it affects other parts of the, mental capacity. So,
in the past interviews, you've spoken out that you were not for having for recreational marijuana being in this area, but however, as the state law that has come through, since it has passed by state law, what have you learned from it, and have you taken any courses? Has the city had any education itself and how to deal with this, not only from a selling point, but how to deal with it with mental health and other issues?
No, I was educating myself throughout the time period, but I didn't do anything further after it was passed. I just recognize, and I've talked to various public officials from Colorado who mentioned that if they could do it over again, they wouldn't have done it. Even the governor wished that he hadn't signed it into law. But it's done, and we just move forward. I'll try to provide whatever input I can, and we'll just go from there.
There's a lot of businesses that have reopened, a lot of areas in real estate that could do it because of the CBD part. Are you excited to see that there's at least some real estate businesses and businesses that have, where shopping areas would have been closed, that those are now filled because of CBD shops?
Anytime you hate to see a business that's just boarded up, and I'm glad that it's at least being utilized, and they're putting, it's getting back on the tax rolls. So that's, on that good end. And I know they're going to be providing some people with opportunities for, as far as jobs are concerned. So that's good. There's just some things there, Ernesto. I mean, I know the people wanted it, and that's fine. I mean, I'm not here to try to stop it. I just, I'm just concerned about the young adults. That's all. Really, when you get right down to it. I mean, after you're, I don't know how old you are, but I think you're over 25. People over 25,
Very
hey,
much.
what they do to themselves, hey, that's that. But anyone, I guess I'm just more concerned about our younger adults, and it's a challenge right now, Ernesto, from a education standpoint, from a work standpoint, and I just rather have the efforts focused on that. But and then that's that. I mean, cannabis, marijuana has been around forever, and even when I was growing up, I never did that stuff. But nonetheless, that doesn't mean that there's people that, and I've seen how, especially on the medical side, how it's really beneficial from PTSD and also from other issues that they may have. So, I mean, I'm sure it provides a lot of benefit, and also from CBD, the other part that they make textiles and things of that nature. That's good too.
All right. Speaking with Las Cruces Mayor Ken Miyagishima, this is Let's Talk Las Cruces. If you have a question for the mayor, please put it in the question form on your social media form that you're able to put in, and I will show the mayor the question. If it's a comment or just want to say take shots, that's not going to be allowed on that, but we do let the mayor see those after the interview if you would like. Speaking of Las Cruces Mayor Ken Miyagishima, I also have to talk about still, because the cannabis part has obviously been big. Were you surprised to see the number of people that were out and waiting in line right towards midnight in our town?
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. Um, staying out till midnight, and but okay, that's good. I did that when I remember when it reminded me of when I was like 15 and a half, and you had to sign up for a driver's ed at Las Cruces High School. We did that. We all got out there, and because they only took so many. And but I remember Mr. Floyd, our principal, he came with these numbers and handed them out. He said, "Hey, you guys go home here. You come back the next day. Here's your number." That was pretty cool. I remember Mr. Floyd doing that. But yeah, no, I was surprised. A lot of people came out. I didn't see you there. I didn't see the picture.
No, I was
I'm
in
just,
another
I was just
school.
messing with
I
you,
was at
Ernesto.
Mayfield. There you go. When you were at Cruces, I was probably at Mayfield. Let's talk a little bit more about
Oh,
what's
come
going on
on.
in
You're a lot younger than me. I was
by a
class
few
of
years.
class of
Only
81. You probably were in the 90s somewhere.
90s. There you go. Speaking of Las Cruces, Mayor Kid Miyagishima, boy, I know this is the last one. He was going to have some fun, so that's fine by me. Let's get back to a little bit more about the cannabis part here as well. What about business laws, recreation codes, and such? The city has taken many steps, had many courses to try to explain this. Do you still feel that if a business is wanting to open in this area, that you're going to find a way for them to be able to work with this? And is there guidelines set that they can pick up at City Hall or anything to help them establish their business and put it in here?
Ernesto, I wanted to kind of remove myself from things because I just didn't want anyone to feel that I was biased towards it. Hey, I've been in this political arena for enough years to know that when you lose, and you just get behind the winners and you move forward and you do the best you can. I can't tell you what the city has as far as that information. I mean, I can pretty much direct. If there's a question on cannabis, I usually go to the assistant manager, Ikani Tamalpeo, who's in charge of that. But I can just tell you that I know that based on the comments I've seen and the residents have shown up to city council, they're very happy with with the way the city has been able to help those who are interested in starting a business in cannabis, and that's good. It's good to
Speaking
hear.
of Las Cruces, Mayor Ken Miyagishima, one last question on this. Mavita, how is this going to impact with Mavita and the economic development in the Borderplex? Do you think it will help encourage some other businesses? Do you feel that there'll be a chance, an opportunity to capitalize with laws differing once again from El Paso in the Texas area to Las Cruces in southern New Mexico?
I don't know. I think the ones who are getting a lot of the, sure, we'll get our portion, but I think a lot that they're going to is Sunland Park and Anthony, New Mexico, because of course Anthony, Texas is just right across the street, and Sunland Park is right across the street from the El Paso County border, the borderline. I couldn't tell you, Ernesto. I mean, that's something there that, again, and I'm glad that law enforcement has been letting people know that, hey, those residents that are coming in from El Paso, from Texas, even though you buy it here in New Mexico, it's not legal in El Paso, so they need to be careful about that.
And also one of our top headlines, and of course at Border Patrol inspection stations as well. Speaking of Las Cruces, Mayor Ken Miyagashima, we're going to talk about some other things going on with the city. Recently, City Council had a meeting to discuss internet infrastructure, what was going on this end, and what ended up happening, Mayor.
Well, we were just basically passing the franchise for Comcast cable. Is that the one you were referring to, Ernesto?
Yes, that's the one I'm referring to.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, it was when we renegotiated the franchise agreement with Comcast, we were able to increase it a little bit more of our franchise fee, and what that's going to be used for is for residents who watch cable channel 20 to be able to watch it in high definition TV or HD TV. And so what we did is just approve those additional monies that are coming in to upgrade the facilities for the HD TV on cable channel 20. But as far as the internet, I mean, we didn't touch that too much.
Okay. What else was discussed on Monday's meeting? If you'd like to give a sample of what happened, can you explain?
You're gonna have to ask me those questions, because I mean, I just,
okay. No worries. I just wanted
without
to
looking it up. I mean, I know we just had it last week, but I mean, it's just yesterday I probably did 300 emails, and it was just nonstop. And in fact, I usually leave at 7:00. I let my wife, you know what, I'm coming, it's like 5:30. I said, I gotta go. I mean, my brain is just fried. I mean, I just nonstop, those emails are coming in. And we have, I think, some convoys coming here, and we're trying to help them out. And I mean, a little bit. And then I'm trying to, got some issues there with EBID and a few other things there. So without having my agenda right in front of me, I couldn't tell you. So I was going to let you ask me.
No worries, Mayor. I'll just go to the questions that I have, and I'll make sure we can go through them. I want to talk about the GO funding, that is the GO bonds that are being looked at. The city has been really pushing hard for these meetings to be taking place and to hear public input. What's the one thing you're hearing the most from residents that they would like to have in our town?
Basically affordable housing. Right now with the way the real estate market is, it's really challenging for our residents to get access to even just to rent a place that's affordable. And that's a shame. And we don't want them to, and I know it's real difficult. And so, and I'm sure we're not gonna be able to build it that quick, but what we can do is work with our partners to be able to provide different types of facilities, whether it's single family or duplexes or triplexes or multi-unit, and we can help them either through land or through lower interest rates. We can maybe lend them the money that they need to get the grants. So that's, I think, is what we're hearing a lot of.
Are you concerned that housing prices, knowing that a lot of people are saying that there's going to be a breakdown, there's going to be a big boom, and then there's going to be all houses available, may not actually be there, and that people need to be a little more cautious about housing and what they're looking at and making sure there's just choices available?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're seeing the workforce change a little bit. Businesses are being very accommodating, and they're allowing employees to work out of their home. And so by doing that, a lot of times they're maybe where they save on gas and childcare and a few other things. They have a little bit more money to buy a larger home, maybe have their own office within that house. And so just so many different things. I mean, so on a good end, on a good part, that's good. On one end, it's good, and then on the other, of course, it hurts the market, because there's, like the law of supply and demand. When there's a lot of demand and little supply, prices tend to go up.
Speaking with Las Cruces Mayor Ken Miyagishima, talking about what is going on with the city of Las Cruces and what is going on. The state right now trying to make sure that they get their special session, which is wrapping up, and that is going to help with spending moves and help with the governor's part. Do you feel that this will impact Las Cruces in any way with what's going on in Santa Fe right now during the special session?
Yeah, I see where the governor wants to provide $500 or $1,000 to residents around the state to help offset the cost of gas. So I mean, that's nice. I wouldn't sneeze at that. That's pretty good. $500, $1,000.
And you think that would help out with gas at least for a couple of weeks?
It'll help out. It'll help out. I think a little bit longer, more than that. I think that's good. It's amazing that I can still remember a few years back when the state had like little or no money, and they were telling us, well, I don't think you guys are going to get anything from the state. Okay, well, we didn't count on a whole lot of it. Now they've got so much money. It's interesting how things change like that.
Speaking with Las Cruces Mayor Ken Miyagashima, talking about what's going on in the city of Las Cruces, have you met with any officials from the Irrigation District to see what water levels are expected to be coming up year, and knowing that we might have a quick dam and they're going to stay much long with the river actually having water in it as well?
I have not. I texted the EBID manager, and he hasn't called or texted me back. So I'll probably just give him a call instead. I try to be a little bit more, just kind of say, because everyone seems to be busy. I just texted him and just say, hey, give me a call when you have a moment. And maybe he hasn't had a moment, but that was yesterday afternoon. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. Another mayor, speaking of Las Cruces, Mayor Ken Miyagashima, talking about what's going on in the city here on Let's Talk Las Cruces, brought to you by American Document Services. The Spaceport has been a bit on a hold, but things did get started, at least with that part. But you see Blue Origin doing very well down in Van Horn. Is your hope that soon that they can get that going, and have any officials reached out to you to see if things might be picking up or how things might be going, especially considering that the city's working hard to upgrade its airport to handle more visitors coming in?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, that was why, there was a while back in the last session, they were trying to require Virgin Galactic to pay gross receipts tax on their tickets, and I didn't think that was. I thought it was a little premature. At least let Virgin Galactic get going. Maybe a year or two under their belt, and then maybe discuss that. So because you're right, I was watching the competitors there in West Texas, Blue Origin, and yeah, they seem to be doing quite well. And when they took up Michael Strahan, I mean, I think that was huge. That let a non-astronaut, high-profile person see how safe it is to go up in space. And they were going to let that other fella, that comedian, what's his name?
Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson. Yeah, I like him. And to go up, but I don't know what happened there. That would have been interesting.
All right. Speaking of Las Cruces, Mayor Ken Miyagashima, this is my final chance that I get to speak with him on Let's Talk Las Cruces. Eventually, I know somebody will get a chance to ask him some questions. He likes to refer to this segment as Stump the Chump. I'll let him explain that a little bit later. But
well, I'm the chump, and you're the one who does the stumping.
That's not the case in this. We always try to inform our people and our listeners and viewers of what's going on in the city. So I thought I'd look ahead, some final questions to look ahead as we go through ahead for this year. There's going to be a governor election coming up. Will you be supporting Governor Lujan Grisham in her campaign for re-election bid?
I'm sorry. I don't know if you can hear. I can't hear you, Ernesto. I think we're
Okay.
having some difficulties
No,
here.
no problem. I wanted to ask the
You want to
question,
go? Why
Mayor.
don't you just go? Why don't you just go to the next question?
Okay. Not a problem. Your political career, what does your future hold, and what are you looking ahead in 2023?
You know what? I think we're still having problems here, Ernesto. Let's try one more question and see if that.
There's not a problem, folks. This is his way of not. This is what he will not.
No, I still haven't decided what I'm going to do. But I know there's going to come a time that I'm going to have to, step down because I think it's, yeah, and when that time comes, definitely let you know. But I think we have some good city council counselors, councilwomen, counselors, and any one of them could take over. So, but we'll see.
Looking ahead to the future in our town, you've been wondering how the population growth will be. If you could predict in 10 years where we're going to be at for our next census, how many people do you think will be living in Las Cruces, and what will be our big industry that will be taking over?
We'll probably be in 10 years. We'll probably be at about 135,000 people, and I'm going to guess that probably would be more geared towards space, aerospace. I think the spaceport's good. You're going to see so many ancillary businesses uh, crop up because of that. The university and PSL, physical science laboratories, are doing a lot of great things. You got White Sands, it's going to starting to grow and expand. And so I think you're going to see a lot more and more high tech industry.
Mayor, one last question. What do you think is the most important thing residents can do in 2022 to help make their neighborhoods safe in our town?
Ernesto, thanks for asking me that question. I want everyone to know that I haven't turned a blind eye to our homelessness problem. A couple things. I know we have residents that have moved here from other parts of the country, and maybe where they come from, their mayor basically ran the city. In our case, we have a city manager who runs the city. I mean, we hire them, but we just make policy and we let them run the city. In order to make policy, I have to have a majority of people who support my particular goal or policy, what I propose. And right now it's a challenge with our homeless population. I by no means do I want to criminalize homelessness. So, but what I want to do is I want to see what exactly can we do to help those in need, help those that you know we have to have a balancing act between our residents and make sure that they have a safe place that they live and that they're not visited by unwelcome strangers. Our businesses also, they need to have a clean and safe place to conduct business for them and their customers and their employees. And then how do we balance that with those who are experiencing whether it's food insecurity or housing insecurity, and be able to all get along in this great community of ours. And so I've put together an informal committee, and it literally is growing every day. I mean, that's number one. And then crime, you know, I wish I could wave a magic wand. I can't. And we're not alone in crime. I'm sure you see the statistics nationwide. And I belong to the U.S. Conference of Mayors Advisory Committee, and we have emergency calls, and there are mayors around the country that they don't understand the huge spikes in crime. It has to be attributed to the downtime of COVID, and there's just so much stuff going on. I can't explain it. All I know is we just have to stay with the basics, make sure that we have the services, that residents need, and that they stay vigilant when they go out, and to support our public safety, our police, our fire, our ambulance. make sure that they have the tools that they need, and we just take it day by day. We're always trying to figure out ways to keep our community safe. We've got some ideas, some I can't really share because then it kind of would mess up some of the security. But again, I appreciate you asking me this question, because I think a lot of folks think that, especially the ones that are relatively new here, think that I just don't care. And it's not that. Believe me, I'm working really hard behind the scenes to try to get this under control and do the best we can. But I need help. I can't do it myself. I have to have 3 council members support my particular vision or policy. And if I don't have that, it doesn't go anywhere.
All right. Well, we want to thank the Las Cruces Mayor Ken Miyagishima for joining us. If people want to reach you, Mayor, get a hold of you, how can they do so?
Well, they can tweet me at Mayor Ken LC. If they need an appointment, they can email me at mayor at the @las-cruces.org. Or if it's an emergency, you can call the office at 575-541-2076.
All right.
Do we have any questions?
No, we're okay today. I think technical difficulties came out with questions.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we were having a few of those earlier.
Yeah, I'm sure we were, Mayor. On an editor's note, we want to thank American Document Services for their proud sponsorship and allowing us to do this format. And if it wasn't for them, we would not have the technology or resources responsible that we needed during the pandemic to speak with our mayor during crucial times to keep us up to date with what was going on in the city. We appreciate the mayor for always joining us when he can. And on a personal editor's note, I want to thank you, the listeners, and you, the viewers, for watching for all these times. We're glad that you were able to ask questions, be involved, and get into the community to know what was going on in our town, because this is what's important to us. And we're a local media company here. We appreciate that. And we ask you to support our local media companies, whether it be newspapers, radio, or anything such. And I know the mayor does that as well. And I'd like to thank the mayor for his time and also his basketball insight, his baseball insight, and knowing the best way to teach me how to duck a question better than anybody else I've ever seen. So that I give you, Mayor, on the politician part.
I just want to take a moment, Ernesto, to thank you for all the years that that you have served the city and county and our community. Very rarely do I come across someone as smart, intelligent, and you know what you're doing. And I'm not surprised that this company that hired you away. I'm glad that you're still here, going to live here in the city. And I know that if that company that you're going for was traded on the stock market, the stock had probably just increased by you being there. So,
well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm still an Aggie, true or true. Graduated from Mayfield. I know you're a Bulldog, but I'll be a Trojan. That's fine. We can all still get along.
I'm going there. I think it's this Friday for something. Oh yeah, I'm going there this Friday. And what's weird is I still get this little funny feeling when I enter Trojan country. I don't know why. It's like I'm not supposed to be here, but it's starting to wear out. I hope you weren't
playing pranks in the day, because if so, that's a whole other news story that we're going to have to go into.
No, not at all. I'm just going there. It just it was interesting. The very first time I went there as mayor, but it was kind of odd. It's funny how, and that's what I think people don't realize. Years ago, there was just 2 high schools, Mayfield, Cruces, and you grew up part of the town. You knew you were either a Bulldog or a Trojan, and that's why that rivalry was so strong. And because you knew as a kid which school you're going to and which school you were going to be. So, and I'm just telling you, that's kind of interesting.
Okay, I'm sure you're the mayor, and Mayfield High School will be honoring our
oh yeah, no, we're good now. I mean, you'd think after 15 years I got over it, but it just
like I said, I wonder the teenage years, what stories could come out of there, but that's a story for another time. I enjoy telling your story, Mayor. Thank you much for joining me, and thank you for taking the time. This is Let's Talk Las Cruces, a division of Mesilla Valley News. We appreciate you listening and watching wherever you are.